people, I'll be discussing my wish list for WWE 2K17. I will point out that this is my personal ones for the game, and it's going to be different from most people, as others would rather have roster updates and something new for the showcase mode, like a particular wrestler that's popular nowadays and whatnot. For me, I'm expressing what could be great ideas for the gameplay and the creation systems, as that's usually what I play the games for. It may not be exactly everyone else's reason for playing the game, but it's mine. So, on to that. Now, the first thing I'll touch upon is the gameplay, and WWE 2K16 was the first next-gen game in the series that I played, on next-gen of course, and frankly I was impressed with this aspect. I ignored at least 3 WWE games, which would be 12, 13, and 2K14. I bought 2K15 on the Xbox 360, and while I was surprised at it, because I thought the other 3 that I mentioned were shit, the gameplay seemed like it was a bit too fast-paced for the style they were going for, which was supposed to be simulation. The next-gen version slowed it down significantly, and I actually didn't mind it. It made the game more where it was trying to be, and it actually worked for the game. The new thing they added, though, I'm kind of mixed about. I like the idea of the counter system because it prevents constant counter spam, but the problem is most people don't put strategy into it, which I guess is what they were trying to do, and basically go back-to-back countering people over and over and over until that one person is out of counters. Now that's alright, but there's no kind of risk and reward system, which I'm hoping to implement in the new game, because once you run out of counters, you're basically being beaten to a bloody pulp until you get a counter bar back, and whether you hit them and get out of that shit afterwards is kind of up to you or by random. Now it's okay when both people have, no counters, but when it comes to a point where basically you have no counters and you're using your only counter to get back up, and the other guy's got like 4 to 3 counters, well, that's when things get kind of awkward, and that's kind of why I was hoping maybe in the next game they make it where taunts make your counter meter boost, or make it where you can do a risk and reward type aspect where you can like do something risky and get a counter bar in favor for it. Not sure how they're going to implement that exactly, but I feel like if they did something like that, it would kind of make the awkwardness of the counter bar a little bit more, convenient, It would actually have that strategic depth that they're trying to go for, and I would love that. Now maybe this is just me, but I feel like they should tighten up the gameplay a little bit. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of aspects in the game that require certain animations to be completed in order to actually let something happen, and during that period usually you can't grab or pick people up or do signatures or finishers, and I notice this quite frequently. I mean, at least every day I've played the game, I've noticed it at least once or twice, and it doesn't happen too often where you'd be irritated with it, but when it does happen, it's kind of annoying and it kind of breaks the immersion they're trying to set here. And I feel like maybe next time around they should tighten it up a bit to prevent that many situations like that from happening, and it would overall make the gameplay much, much smoother, and for a game like this, that's something that's kind of required. Now on to the creation system. I absolutely love how much detail the characters have now. They may not be 100% like the legit superstars or divas, but they're pretty damn close, I'd say. My problem though is definitely the face morphing. The old games had the good old bar system to tamper with, and while it wasn't the most ideal, it was good enough to where you'd know how to use it and make people look very different, and it was in-depth, especially for its time, and I always loved it. The new next-gen 2K games, however, went with a new advanced deformation feature, and while I love the potential with it right now, I feel like there's some huge tweakings that need to be done. First of all, you cannot mirror tweak. So if you fuck up on one side, the other side's gonna basically be a fuck up too, because it doesn't match the other side, and you'll come up with some really fucked up characters. I can honestly say I've had so many characters get fucked up just because there was no way to undo anything unless you canceled your decision, which would mean you'd have to cancel out all the shit that actually looked good. And honestly, I feel like in the next game they need to add like a mirror feature, or at the very least let old school people like me use the bar system, in which case we won't have so many fucked up looking creative superstars and divas and shit. I'm just saying, man, why? It should have been a simple thing to add that they didn't add, and it kind of baffles me that they did not have a mirror thing in the deformation. And I also feel like there should be a lot more hair options, and usually WWE games in the past has a lot of that, and while there's some decent options here, there's not enough hair with bangs in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sound like a fucking emo douche, but you know, not everyone looks like they came out of the 80s WWF, if you know what I mean. I'm basically saying they should have like shaggy hair or long shaggy hair for the people who want it. And for some reason I noticed a lot of clothing, like loose clothing, is locked to intros only. And I find that mighty stupid because, you know, it makes it seem like they're trying to hide the clipping issues, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. From what I can tell, clipping issues have been an issue since like the PS1 WWE games, and it seems like they're trying to hide it when it's just so blatantly obvious that it's there, and it's stupid. In my opinion, they should let everything be usable, because in the old PS2 games, hell, even the PS1 games, if I can remember that much, let you wear shit like that without any restrictions at all. And the fact that a next-gen PS4, Xbox One game is not letting you do that's kind of stupid, because it kind of limits the options tremendously. And personally, I also feel like there should be a lot more loose clothing. Along with unrestricting the intro outfits and making it actually usable in matches, they should add more jackets, more robes, more skirts, more dresses, you know, anything that's basically loose, because, you know, there was a lot of that in the old games. For some reason, they kind of got limited a bit more this time around. Speaking of women's clothing, where the fuck are they? There is enough to make a lot of cool females, but the guys get a lot more work with it, and it doesn't help that some pieces are also entrance locked too, and hair is even a problem. Again, I mean, you know, the hair is still, you know, there, but it's just tremendously cut if you compare it to the men's hair, where they got plenty of options, or, you know, decent amount of options anyway. And it's really something I'm hoping they fix next year. And, you know, obviously every WWE game usually adds to the creation system, and I'm hoping, since, you know, this is their second effort at next gen, their third effort will be the charm, you know, because third time's the charm and whatnot. So, you know, we'll see what happens then. Then we got a really cool entrance editor. I'll admit, I like this one a lot more than the one we've been getting in the previous games. From what I can tell, the old games ones were never really being updated too much, and it was just kind of recycled continuously aside from newly added entrances. And I think the new one's almost perfect. But I dislike the fact that the one thing it doesn't have anymore is that you cannot edit entrance cameras anymore. Meaning, you know, if you want to hide an awkward-ass facial expression, because there's plenty of those, or make a dramatic-looking angle, you know, manually, you can't, because the entrances are basically randomly generated with the game's engine. Though I'd love to see them crack it open a bit more next time, because, you know, the entrance editor we get here is almost like a fucking movie maker, you know, kind of makes me want fucking story designer again. But some people were annoyed that the custom soundtracks aren't a thing anymore, and you guys have to understand that the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 currently do not have the ability to download MP3 files, and honestly, I just tell you guys to stop fucking bitching about it, because it's not going to happen in a foreseeable future unless, you know, they actually fucking make it available on both of the systems. So for now, that's just going to be something we're going to have to live with. It's a living pain, deal with it. It's not even that big of a deal anyways, because shit like that will get you copyrighted, you know, if you're fucking recording the gameplay off a capture card, because the PS4 capture doesn't record audio as far as music goes. Now, I will be negative about the tag team entrances, and my god, they're fucking horrible. I mean, they couldn't use the mix and match stuff like the regular entrances, because what we got here is really, really sad. The tag animations are really limited, and though I like that you can choose who's in the position now, you know, so it's not, you don't have a fucking dude doing some girls animation anymore. It feels like something that could have been used for something like a tag team entrance creator, which I just said a minute ago. Like, take the entrance editor of the single entrance shits and basically apply that to tag teams, and that would have been fucking perfect. I feel like the trio entrances, however, are just fucking laughable. You think the tag team ones are fucking bad. Ho, you only get 4 entrances here. And honestly, I feel like they could have just added a bunch of generic entrances, or emulate a lot of the old ones from old school times and give them generic names, spice it up a bit, you know what I mean? Seeing how ballsy these fucking things are, I'm just saying, they need improvement, like stat. Also, please tell me I'm not the only one who wants to see Story Designer come back. I love making stories surrounding my actual fucking characters that I made, and making feuds and making all these epic fucking scenarios that you would never see on WWE anymore, like fucking backstage street fights and shit. And just think, if they added in the abilities of showcase mode, like creating your own objectives, or having like mid-scene cutscenes happening between fights, that would be fucking killer, dude. You cannot tell me that that wouldn't be killer, because it is fucking killer, and I'll stop saying killer because that's getting really annoying. And lastly, and I cannot express this enough, the online needs some major fucking work. It's fun with friends, but I cannot stand to play that shit with other randoms because the connections, I don't know why, no matter what the fuck happens, I get shitty connections when I play that game, and I had to learn to play with input lag with how fucking bad these connections are, dude. Even when I'm playing with friends, the connections are shit, and they only get worse when more people stockpile on our servers. It's something that needs tremendous fucking amounts of work, because it's just unbelievably laggy when you play that game online, like Call of Duty Ghost ×3, dude. I'm telling you, it's bad. And I'd also love to see the ability to add custom match options, like, you know, set up where DQ can happen or not happen, or, you know, get rid of the counter meters for online mode, and, you know, have endless counter spam. And I'd love to be able to see entrances again and have custom arenas thrown in there as well. Them throwing that out was kind of odd to me, but, you know, hopefully next year they'll correct that. But yeah, anywho, this is the video I've been wanting to do for a while. I haven't, because I've been busy with stuff. And speaking of being busy, I'm probably not going to have uploads for a little bit because things are coming up and, you know, all this other shit. So uploads are going to steadily decrease. But yeah, thanks for watching. Tell me what you think of my opinions, and I will see you guys later.